Welcome back to our channel. My name is Teacher Smith and today we are going to understand a very interesting topic with respect to GEP. So, to understand this topic, let's take an example. Here, the example question says, there are 5 children A, B, C, D and E have different scores in a test with a full score of 100. If A, B and C have an average score of 96 points and C, D and E have an average score of 92 points, the sum of their score is 471. What is the score of C? So here in this question, what we can understand, there's a word that is given to us, that is average. So the question is all about averages. So what do you mean by average? What is the meaning? And how we can solve question based on average? Let's try to understand this with a simple example. So here, let's say if I have 9 apples. And this 9 apples, if I distribute to students like 2 apple to one, 6 apple to other, and 1 apple to the third one. So now what we can observe here, one of the student has 6 apples. He is so happy. But the other two, just 2 and 1. So being a teacher, what I'll do? I'll try to make sure everyone has the same number of apples. So what we should do? Yes, there are 9 apples, 3 students. So if we want to distribute it equally, it's 9 divided by 3, which is nothing but 3. This means each of the students should get 3. So regarding the first boy who's crying, I'll give him 1 more apple. The boy who has 6 has to give out apple, that is 3 apples he will give out and 3 will be remaining. And the boy who has just 1 will get 2 more, and now we can see all of them are happy. So what we can understand from this, check. The 9 that is present in here represents the total number of apples. The 3 students represents the number of students. And since each one of them has 3, which is a same amount of apple, we call this 3 as the average. So what is the meaning of average? Average is nothing but among the people we try to distribute around the same value. So here, how to calculate average? 9. How did we get 9? 9 is nothing but the total number of apples. What does this 3 represents? Yes, it represents the number of students that are present. And lastly, when the total number is divided with the number, what we get is called as average. So here we have got a formula for average, which is nothing but total divided by numbers. So let me summarize this here. The formula is average is total divided by number. Now, let's take another situation. What if there are some muffins I want to distribute? We don't know how many muffins are there. But we do know that each of the students gets 6 muffins and there are 4 students. So, can we find out what is the total number of muffins that are present here? Yes, we know the 6 here represents the average that is present. And 4 represents the number of students. To find out the total number of muffins, it's 6 times 4. So, which gives us 24. So, the total number is nothing but 24. So, what we can understand from this example? Here, the 6 represents the average. 4 represents the number of students. And how to find out the total? If we just multiply, we get the total that is present here. So, what we can understand? If we have average, if we have number, we can easily find out the total. So, here comes the summary from the second example. Now, let's take other way around. Let's say there are 32 chocolate bars. And now, each of the students gets 4. But we don't know how many students are there. Now, the question arises, how we can find out the number of students? See, there are 32 and each one of them gets 4. So, how to find out the number of students? 32 divided by 4. So here, if we divide it, we can easily get the number of students, that is 8. So now, what does this 4 represent? Since this 4 is around the equal value, we call this as an average. The 32, what does it represent? It represents the total. Very smart answer. So here, 32 is the total, 4 is the average. And how to get the number? Just divide total with average, we can easily get the number. So to summarize this, it's nothing but number equal to total divided by average. So what we can understand, if you carefully look at these 3 formulas that we have just made, here, if from these 3 quantities, total, average and number. If we just know any two value, we can easily find out the third value by just using any of the relation. So out of this three, we should know two, and then we can get the remaining one is the summary. Know two to get one. Now since this is the average and these are the formulas that are related to it, let's have a look in our question. Now in our question, what does the question say? A, B and C has an average score of 96 points. So A, B, C, the average is 96. This means A, B and C has a score around 96. So we know the average. We know the number. Which value we can find out? Yes, we can find out total. You took no time to get it. So here first we can find out the total score of A, B and C. Each one of them has 96 and there are 3 students. So what is the total score? That is 3 times 96. That is 288. Now in the next line we also have C, D and E have an average score of 92 points. This means each one of them has scored around 92 and there are 3 students. Which value we can find? Yes, from average and number we can find out the total. So here we can write down total score of C, D and E is nothing but 92 times 3, which is 276. Now let's try to understand. For A, B and C, here we know the total, that is 288, that we got it. We don't know about individual value, but we still know the total. Now also for C, D and E, we know the total is 276. Now the question is asking us to find out C, but it also says the sum of their scores is 471. This means A plus B plus C plus D plus E, this total part that is present here is 471. And we need to find out what is the score of C. So one thing we can observe here. From A, B and C it's 288 and C, D and E is 276. This means C is the repetitive part that is present here. So we can observe 288 and 276, the sum is bigger than 471. So how to find out value of C? Yes, we can find out just by adding this 288 and 276, then removing the 471, we can easily get the score of C. So if I write it down, here the score of C is nothing but 288 plus 276 minus 471, which is equal to 93. So this means the score, the individual score of C is nothing but 93. So what we can understand from this question here, among the average, there are 3 things that are present: average, total and number. In this 3, if we know any of the 2 values, we can easily find out the third one. And that brings us to the summary of this question. So what we can understand is, in average problems, there are just these 3 things. Average is nothing but the total divided by number. Total equal to average times number. Number is equal to total divided by average. And in these 3 values, if we know any 2, we can easily find out the third one. And that marks the end of this question. So now, if you are eager to learn more, you can scan the QR code that is present here. Or else, what you can do is, here, there is a seminar on May 1st, which will be conducted by me. This is regarding the GEP practice. You can scan the QR code, join the group, and our teaching assistant will help you to sign up for this seminar. For now, I'm Teacher Smith, signing off right now, but I'll see you in the next video.